Proxies. The proxy object is used to define custom behavior when the properties of a target object are accessed. This will make more sense once I give you an example. But before I give you an example, let me just show you the syntax. We got var p equals new proxy, and then you pass in the target and the handler. A target is just an object. You're passing in any object, and the handler explains how it's going to be different than usual when you access the object. So you can make things a little different than what would normally happen when you try to do things with the object, with the handler. And the methods that are in the handler are called traps. Let me give you an example. In this example, I'm going to explain the handler first. And in this handler, we're going to define a new get method. Now, normally, the get method is just a normal method as part of the object. Like if you look at this example, if var p was just a normal object, and then we try to did p.a equals 1, the a is the key, and then the 1 is the value. So then if you just console.log p.a, it's just going to print 1, because we've assigned 1 to a. So now, instead of just giving you the normal value out, normally if you did p.a, that would be a get to get 1, we're going to define something else to happen when you try to access that key within the object. So it says return key, so it's going to say if key is in the target. So if we're searching for a key that's actually part of the object, if that's true, because this is a ternary operator, so if it's true, this is going to happen. If it's false, this is going to happen. So if the key is in the target, we are going to return that key. Else, we are going to return 37. So look down here. We have the variable p, and then we're going to make it a proxy. We're going to pass in this empty object, and then we're going to put in this handler. So we can now assign things to just like a normal object. p.a equals 1, p.b equals undefined. And now if we console.log these things, p.a and p.b, well, p.a is 1, so it should give us 1. p.b is undefined, so it should give us undefined. But then look at this next section, console.log c and p. Well, there is no c and p. So, and then we're going to do p.c, there is no c. So let's see what happens. Let's run that. And you can see it is get for p.a is giving the 1, and then p.b is giving the undefined. And it's checking to see if c is in p. There is no c in p, so we get false. But then when we try to access c.p, it's going to give us 37 because of the proxy handler up here. Now, just to kind of make this, just to show you one more thing, if I comment that out, and I'm going to put var p equals, and now I'm just going to make it an object without the proxy. And if I run that, so it's going to give you undefined. So without the proxy, when I do p.c, it gives you undefined. But with the proxy, instead of giving you undefined, it's going to give you 37. So proxies just allow you to make it so other things can happen instead of what would normally happen when you're working with objects. Let me give you just one more example. I'm going to scroll down here to example 2. And proxies can be used to help validate data that you're passing in to the object. So before I look at this validator, which is the equivalent of the handler up here, let's look at how we're creating the object. Let person equal new proxy, which is an empty object, validator. And let's see how it validates. Because we're actually trying to make an object called a person. So, and we're trying to set the age of the person. So before we were using the method, the get method. Now it's the set method. So when you try to set a value of the object, first it's going to see if the property you're trying to set is the age, and then if the type of the value, that means if what you're pushing into the age property is not a number, or if it's not a value, console.log age must be a number. And if the value is less than or equal to 0, console.log age must be a positive number. Let's just make that less than 0 because your age can equal 0. And then after that happens, it's going to assign the object, which is person, the property, which will be age, the value of what you set that, and that's going to return true. So let me put in some more code and give you this example. So if we try to assign person.age to equal young, let's see what happens. It says age must be a number because that's not a number. If we try to make it -30, let's see what happens. We just look at the bottom. Age must be a positive number because that's a negative number. However, if we do person.age equals 100, which is something that it can be. It's going to say age must be a number, age must be a positive number, but it doesn't give you any extra warning when you put age equals 100. And then I'm just going to do console.log person.age. I'm going to clear the console really quick and run that. And then it's going to console.log the 100. Now, in this specific example, even it's still assigning the property to the value. So, like for instance, if right under it says person.age, if I say console.log person.age, and I run that, see, it's still going to log the word young, but instead of in an actual program, you wouldn't put console.log here. You would make this an error, and then it would never get to the line down here where it assigns the value. But I just did console.log so you can see what I was doing here. Well, thanks for watching JS Nuggets. My name is Bo Carnes. Check the description for links to more information. Please subscribe, and remember, use your code for good.